I just want to raise the issue of domestic violence today. Like last week saw the end of the 16 days of activism around the issue. And while that's very important to raise awareness, we need to be aware of it 365 days of the year. And I suppose particularly coming up to this time of year where there's a lot more drink consumed, it is an issue that occurs more frequently around Christmas time. And while I think that prevention needs to be concentrated on, we also do need refuges for women who have to escape for their safety. And Cavan is one of 9 counties who still do not have a refuge. And in fact, several of the counties surrounding Cavan do not have a refuge. So Monaghan, Leitrim, Longford, and then quite a bit further, Sligo, Roscommon. So there's a lot of counties there without a refuge space for domestic violence victims. And I had a meeting with the Garda superintendent recently, and he said one of the biggest issues when they address an issue like this is they have nowhere to take a woman and children if they have to take her out of the house for her own safety. And it's often in the middle of the night, and they're depending on local hotels or B&Bs to facilitate them. And that's, for a already traumatised family, trying to negotiate rooms within the fire of a hotel is just not appropriate. Now, I'm speaking to both the councils in Cavan and Monaghan. In Monaghan, they have identified a site and there will be a purpose-built a refuge there. It'll still be a few years, but the funding has been allocated to it, and they are identifying safe houses in both counties, probably from next year, hopefully. But and while the people in Cavan County Council working with Safe Ireland are looking to identify a site in Cavan, the funding has not been actually allocated as yet. So I want to ensure that funding is allocated, that should a site be found that's suitable, that the funding is available to proceed in as quick as time as possible, because the statistics are very high. And while we hear more on the news about the fatalities, unfortunately, it's an ongoing issue for many people. And it's like many women are forced to stay in a relationship because they have nowhere to go. And the refuge would offer them that space to get out of there and to try and negotiate the next part of their lives, because that takes some time to do. I also think it's a big issue in the north, a huge issue there, and I think it's something we should be cooperating across the border, because perpetrators of domestic violence don't recognise the border, and I think the supports to help families that are experiencing this shouldn't recognise the border either. So I think it's something that we should work in collaboration within the north, and that if somebody requires a refuge space, it shouldn't matter which county they're in, they should be able to access one where there's one available, regardless of whether it's north or south. Thank you.